up, YouTube? What's up, magical people? This is Unique Divination, and I am doing this video because I'm going to start talking about tarot. I'm going to be loading up some videos that's going to explain tarot cards. So this is going to be interesting for all the people that need help. A lot of people that's starting out. I used to get a lot of DMs on Instagram from people just asking, like, hey, where do I start? So to all the people that's been asking, I've been listening, like I've been saying in my previous videos, just trying to get stuff together. So this is what this video is going to be about. Okay, so we're going to be talking about tarot. There are 78 cards in a tarot deck, no matter what tarot deck you use. I'm not talking about oracle decks, I'm talking about tarot decks. They're completely different things. So there are 78 cards total. There's 22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana. Okay, and so what this means is that there are 22 cards. Starts off 0 with the Fool's Journey, and the last card is 22, which is the universe, the world, pertaining to whatever deck you're using, because each tarot deck has different symbolization, different pictures, and things of that nature. We'll get into that later. The 56 cards are dealing with the suits. Depending on your deck, like my deck, I have swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. And they vary from, they go from ace to 10. So, for instance, you would have the ace of wands all the way to the 10 of wands. That means second, third, fifth of wands, six of wands, and so on and so forth with each suit. So it goes from the ace to the 10, okay? Included in the suit cards are court cards. And these are dealing with kings, queens, princes, princesses, knights. You'll also have pages. Some cards will have pages as well. And so I wanted to show you, I keep doing these videos off my phone, and I'm sorry for that. I'm going to take it over to my desktop eventually, but for right now I'm doing the phone. So there are cards like, this is the Rider-Waite deck, okay? We've got the Two of Swords, okay? Got a Courtyard card, Knight of Wands, showing backwards, Ten of Swords, Five of Cups. So these are kind of just what you'll be looking at. I recommend getting this card, this deck, I sell these decks on my website, www.urbanmystic.com. Okay, this is an Ace of Cups. So, again, we've got 78 tarot cards altogether. We've got the 22 major arcana. Let me see if I can find y'all on the major arcana card so y'all can see what it looks like. Perfect. The Moon. Temperance. Now, these are not the cards that I do my readings with. I do my readings with Hermetic deck, which is affiliated with the Rider-Waite deck. There's another card that's affiliated with these two decks, and it's the Thoth deck, created by Aleister Crowley. So, although I don't own a Thoth deck, I've had my hands on it before. I study the Thoth deck because a lot of the terminology and a lot of the symbolism can be applied to my deck and to Rider-Waite deck. A little bit more of the Hermetic because they're all in the same family, the Golden Dawn family. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of my deck. The Star. We've got Four of Wands, Blast the Tower. And as you can see, Lover's card. My deck that I use is black and white. The Rider-Waite deck is color. Excuse me, and my deck also has zodiac signs on them that go with the reading, go with the symbolization. So the Hermetic deck is a little bit complex. Rider-Waite is very easy to learn from. Hermetic deck is a little bit more complex. The Thoth deck is complex as well. So I would not recommend picking up the Hermetic deck or the Thoth deck if they are your first deck of cards, unless you obtain information very easily, and you like complex stuff. You can figure out complex stuff pretty quick because it's extremely complex. I mean, you're always going to learn from your deck. You know, I'm learning every day still with the deck. So, but it fits for me. It helps me. You know, I understand it. I resonate. I have a relationship with this deck, and it's just a deck that I favor a lot. So, I'm recommending to you guys that want to learn how to read tarot to get the Rider-Waite deck. Okay? This little colorful deck right here that I've been showing. Rider-Waite. We're going to break down. Actually, is there anything else that I need to bring up? Because I think I'm going to start everything in the next video. So, I've talked about how many cards total, major versus minor, and court cards are in the minor deck. Depending on what deck you have, just like I was saying, you're going to have some elements on your card. And that's what I was saying. Like, I've got zodiac signs in a Hermetic deck. They've got elements on there. They've got air, and then they've got planets also. So, I have a lot of notes on that. We'll get into that eventually. But, you know, because we're just starting out, we're just going to focus on the basis of tarot cards. And so, dealing with tarot. Sorry, I'm a little bit choppy. I'm trying to put all this together. I didn't take notes. Go figure. So we have some cards that are black and white. We have some that have color. We have some that use different symbols, like I was saying. This card uses pentacles, wands, cups, and swords. Some decks might use discs for pentacles, coins, rods for sword. So that's just something to think about too. If you don't know what kind of deck to get, shop around, look around, do some reviews, go to somewhere that sells them where you can kind of touch them. I didn't have that opportunity. They say that tarot cards are supposed to be gifted to you. Really? I've never had a tarot card deck gifted to me. I've gifted them to people, but I've never had one gifted to me. It doesn't take away from you being a tarot reader. Okay? It doesn't take anything away from it because nobody gifted it to you. So just keep that in mind as well, okay? But if somebody does, then you need to value that deck. Value it, okay? So, upkeep of tarot. Okay, your first deck of tarot cards is going to look like crap. I don't believe I have my first deck. I put them somewhere, but my first deck has notes written all over it. I pretty much, like, be prepared to write all over your deck, on the front, on the back of it, because you're going to need to learn how to study. And with tarot reading, you have to memorize what these symbols and numbers mean, and it takes a long time. It's not something that you get then and there. Okay, we're going to throw that right out the door. You're not just going to pick up a deck and look at it, and then like in a month, you're going to know all the symbols of your deck, interpretation of it, because there's so much interpretation to take in, and just know everything. And then on top of that, your own intuitive spin on things once you build a relationship with the deck. So it's not going to happen. I can't recall who said this, and forgive me, but I'll try to have the information when I do my next video. I might not. But when dealing with tarot, you're supposed to actually take one card and meditate on it for 3 days. And that's 78 cards. So one card for 3 days, you meditate on that card, you study it, you learn the symbolism of it. And I mean, like, you really have a personal relationship with this card. Put the card under your pillow, reference it, the things that are going on in your life during the day. See if you can reference things to the card. I went through a phase a lot where, like, stuff that was happening in my life, I was referencing it to the card that I was studying at the time. The time that it takes for you to meditate and build a relationship with each card, one card every 3 days, that's the amount of time that it takes to conceive a baby. This gift that we practice and use, this stuff was like, you know, it's seriously studied. Some people don't think that believing in tarot is something good, or, you know, they think it's bad and, oh, you're gonna die. Like, it's just weird misconceptions about tarot, and it's not really true. Basically, it should take as much time as it takes to make a baby for you to just get the general basis of each card. And it's hard to do. I'm not gonna say I completely did one card for 3 days and then moved on to another. Sometimes I held on to a card longer than 3 days. Sometimes something just resonated with me and I was just able to, you know, hold on to it. Or sometimes I studied a card a day, 2 days, like, and I'm still not completely through the entire deck as far as formally learning it. So don't think that it's gonna, like, mess you up, or, you know, if you don't study it the way, the one card every 3 days. Best practice. Does anybody do it? People can. I'm midway there, but like I said, sometimes I'll hold on to a card for longer than a day. What else can I pretty much say about just a general... Oh, upkeep. We're talking about upkeep. So, right, if somebody gifts you a deck, take care of it, respect it, because they thought enough about you to give you a deck. So, I have this box. This is what I keep mine in. Keep them nice. A simple box that I put my stuff in. And letting people touch your deck. That's up to you. That's up to you. Some people don't care. Okay. Some people wrap it in cloth and put it inside of here. This goes on my altar. I literally carry them everywhere I go to work. But when I'm not at work, it goes on my altar. It goes somewhere sacred on my altar. If I don't have time to put it under my altar, I'll leave it in my work bag or something. But ultimately, they're always sitting on my altar. Okay. That's up to you if you want somebody to touch your deck. I'm funny like that. My kids and my husband, they touch my deck, and now that I've got a learning training deck, like the one that I wrote on for learning, they use that one because they're still learning. So nobody really puts their hands on the deck that I read with. And that's just I'm just funny like that. I pick the cards. You know, my clients tell me when to, and most of my readings anyway are over the phone or via social media online. I have not done a personal in-person reading yet for somebody. That would be totally cool. But I just have not had the opportunity. All my clients live far, far away, even in other countries. Okay, so that's up to you. I've seen people that allow people to touch their decks, but like they give them some type of like spiritual cleansing spray to put in their hands or something, or they'll spray and cleanse their deck after the person has touched it. Okay, and that transitions into the next topic as far as cleansing your deck. When should you cleanse your deck? Whenever you feel like it. Especially if you do readings for clients, I recommend once a week. And that's just a bare minimum. You can do every day. You can do every other day. Whatever resonates with you. Whatever you feel like. It's your deck, your spirituality. You know the strength of your spirituality and your energy and what you can't take. I mean, eventually you're going to have to cleanse because you're taking on people's energy. Especially if you connect with them, ask to connect with them. Even if you don't, you're taking on their energy reading for them. So I recommend cleansing your deck. Like I said, some people have like a spritz. Maybe they'll spray. I recommend salt. You can put a salt circle around your tarot deck, leave it there. You can sprinkle salt on it, you know, and just wipe it off. Maybe a clear quartz crystal, sit it on top of the deck. Sprinkle some salt around the deck with a quartz crystal on top. Sit it in the moonlight, sit it in the sun. The same way you would charge and try to cleanse things. You know, go ahead and do that with your tarot deck. But I recommend cleansing minimum once a week, if that, okay? Have respect for your cards. Everybody has the same gift. If everybody studied and applied themselves, everybody will be able to read tarot for themselves intuitively and on a psychic level. Have respect for your cards. Treat it like a ritual. You know, when it's time to read. If you want to set up sage, if you want to set up incense, crystals, a nice quiet environment, especially if you want to read for clients.